So yesterday we saw Nike release the Kobe 9 Moonwalker, which these dropped at a lot of different retailers, including Foot Locker, as well as via the Sneakers app, which according to Eldon Monitors, who keeps track of the stock numbers, the amount of pairs which Nike releases, they reported stock numbers of roughly around 25,000 pairs, right? So this is a re-release back for the first time, as this shoe originally dropped back in 2014. Over 10 years ago. So what were y'all doing back in 2014? As for myself, when we talk about footwear, I was out here buying up like pretty much every new Jordan retro drop. Well, not like every release, but a lot of the hot ones back then. So definitely different from this year here in 2025, which although it's been like one of the better years when we talk about like Jordan retro releases, as somebody who's been buying these shoes up for years, I'm a lot more selective, you know, picking and choosing, grabbing a couple of pairs here and there. But as far as these Kobes, I absolutely love what Nike's doing with the Kobe line, which kind of started off with a slow burn, a lot more limited and exclusive, but now they're kind of opening things up. For example, like head over to Foot Locker, you'll see your fair share of Kobe releases, from like easy to grab Kobe 9 Protros to some more lifestyle models like the Air Force One, including accessories, socks, you name it. So really cool to see them expanding things right now, keeping things basketball related. We got an exclusive look here courtesy of Soul Retriever. This is the Anthony Edwards Believe That One, which they're saying a more budget friendly, or as in the industry they refer to it as a takedown model. So these are set to drop coming up here in 2026. And as far as being a more budget friendly version, retailing for $100. Now we did hear about these. Soul Retriever did talk about this last year, but this is the first time that we're actually taking a look here at the sneakers. So I would be curious to know what y'all think about these. I've seen a lot of people mentioning like that these look better than the AE2. I wouldn't take things that far, but they're not like ugly. They're not a bad look or anything like that. But I kind of really just don't see the market for a shoe like this coming in at $100. I feel like as the AE2 already retails for just $130, I feel like you're not breaking the bank, you know, for an extra $30 or anything like that to get the real deal joints or whatever. So who knows? Plus the AE2 is like easily available. Adidas isn't playing any of those limited availability games or anything like that. So I just really don't see the market for a shoe like this unless we see like AE, like, you know, rocking these on the court or something like that. I just kind of look at these as almost like the Team Jordans of the Anthony Edwards line. But the fact that they are expanding things with the AE line, it just shows you that he's kind of like at the forefront, you know, the biggest name over there currently at Adidas basketball. Which, talking about Anthony Edwards, we also do have a look here at the 3 SSB, which these are one of these exclusive PEs, which I believe is for Anthony Edwards, like youth basketball league or something like that. Now, as far as the look on these, like features that full tie-dye upper, which when you compare this to the release, which we saw last year, well, these didn't officially drop, but we did eventually see these released in a low top form. Like, I don't want to come across as like a hater or anything like that, but, you know, unfortunately, I just feel like the AE2 version isn't living up to the AE1 version. So y'all got to let me know what you guys think about that one right now. We do also have breaking news here. According to Soul Retriever, it looks like Tom Sachs, the Sack Man, which he's having a pretty big year, like, you know, coming back from all the controversy and everything, you know, with the release of the Mars Yard 3.0, all of the headlines involved in how people had to, you know, compete in all the challenges, the app, everything like that. So it looks like Nike, they're keeping the momentum going, right? Coming up next year, we got the Tom Sachs GPS Gorge Green, set to release summer of 2026, which this shoe was actually originally planned to release in the fall of 2023, but of course that was right in the whole big controversy, right in the middle of everything. So it seems like Nike kind of like let things cool off. They're not letting the good looking shoe go to waste like this, and eventually we are going to see these have an official release date. Also coming up next year, a lot of people are going to be getting those loser Tom Sachs GPSs as well. So it looks like the Sack Man will continue to have a big year. And speaking of those Mars Yard 3.0s, don't y'all find it kind of interesting that Complex didn't even mention anything about those when you talk about the sneaker of the year list? Because although they wouldn't have probably made a lot of people's lists, some people love them joints, like, and plus they did have a lot of talking points this year, so maybe it could have been an honorable mention or something like that. I'm guessing like Complex, they probably didn't want to deal with any of the internet people like coming for them, so they just kind of stayed far away from that one. But I felt like that was a shoe which definitely made a lot of noise, you know, whether you love them or hate them, right? Now, as far as Z sneakerheads, sneaker files, they're actually confirming some updates for Jordan brand releases, which we do have some confirmation of some pairs which they already mentioned, as well as a first look. We got mock-up images of some potential shoes which we could see come next year, which have actually just leaked. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First and foremost, they're going to be confirming that the Air Jordan 9 OG set to return fall of 2026. When you talk about the Jordan 9, I almost kind of look at these as like the middle child. You know, like when you talk about Jordan 1 through 14, right? One of the pairs that don't get as much love, maybe due to the fact that MJ actually never rocked these on the court as these dropped during his retirement phase. Maybe that's not the case. MJ did rock these in Space Jam, so some people nickname these the Space Jams or whatever. I happen to feel like there's a cool shoe which kind of has like that nostalgic 90s vibes to it. So I love to see these return, so that's a cool one. We also have confirmation of the Laser Air Jordan 3 returning next year, which this is one of those like grail status type of sneakers which are never officially released to the public, which I think come next year, they're not going to be a huge hit just due to the fact that I think Jordan Brand would have to like really do a big job of like telling the story about it, because when you compare this release to other grails like say like the Terror Squad joints, the Undefeated 4s, I feel like a lot of people are more familiar with those stories. So unless Jordan Brand does a good job of telling the story, the history of this release, I don't see this one having like mass appeal like that. But more so than likely, rather than telling the story, they'll probably just make these like exclusive and limited, and everybody will go crazy for them. Now, we also do have confirmation of the black patent Air Jordan 17 low, which this one's kind of getting a lot of hate, I guess, due to the full patent leather upper. But again, this is a mock-up image. I happen to love the 17s, so we'll just kind of wait and reserve judgment until we see exactly what these look like. Let's hold off on that one, right? Now, as far as these leaks, these are some pairs which I could never have predicted coming. So, of course, next year, we know it's going to be a huge year when we talk about Jordan 6 releases, as they're going to be celebrating the 35th anniversary from when that sneaker originally debuted. But here we got to look at the Jordan 6 Light Aqua. Now, again, these are going to be mock-up images, so I'll just go ahead and give you guys my feedback based off what we're seeing here with the mock-up, right? So as far as this shoe, if you would have told me like these were dropping like 10 years ago, they would have been a smash hit. But as far as next year, you know, outside of like people that are looking to like, I guess you could say sports fans matching these with one of their favorite jerseys. Some people were talking about the Sharks, the Florida Marlins, them retro jerseys. Outside of that, I don't see these as having like huge appeal. I don't feel like people are going to be running out to pay full price for a shoe like this. More so likely kind of like wait for them to go on sale. The color blocking solid though. I think it's a good looking shoe, but for Jordan Brand, we're going to get into why I feel like this is kind of a tough sell. But first, let me talk about these right here. So we also got the Jordan 4 Comic, expected to drop fall of 2026, which again, this is going to be one of Jordan Brand trying to like create like a new theme, new storytelling, right? Almost like what I feel like they're doing with like the Rare Air series, which I feel like Jordan Brand didn't really do a great job of explaining the storytelling, the marketing behind a release like that. But maybe I'm kind of overthinking it. Maybe not every shoe does have to have like, a big story behind it. But I thought it was a cool theme and could have maybe been executed, a little bit better. So as far as something like this, again, it's a new theme Jordan Brand's trying to run with one of their classic mottos. We know 4s are some of the most popular Jordan retros currently, but I feel like just the 4 alone isn't going to sell it. It's got to be a really cool OG color or say like a collaboration. So I feel like with these new Jordan Brand themes, these releases like this, which they're calling comic, if it's not a collab, if it's not an OG, I just kind of feel like it's a tough sell, man. So let me know what y'all think about these.